Ma'am, according to the county record, you're no longer married to Connor Hale. Maya Holloway stared at the loan officer across the polished desk, waiting for the woman to smile and admit she had pulled up the wrong file. She did not. I'm sorry, Maya asked. The woman turned her monitor slightly. A divorce petition was filed under your names. There are already signed financial disclosures attached. For a second, Maya heard nothing except the soft music playing through the bank speakers. Her left hand rested beside the mortgage paperwork, and the diamond Connor had slipped onto her finger 8 years earlier caught the fluorescent light. One detail was wrong. She was still wearing her wedding ring. Connor had kissed her forehead before leaving for work that morning. He had asked whether she wanted Thai food for dinner. He had even reminded her to call the plumber. Normal married people things. Except apparently Connor had been quietly figuring out how to stop being her husband. When was this filed? Maya asked. Last Thursday. Last Thursday. Maya remembered making chicken pasta while Connor stood at the kitchen island answering emails. He had eaten 2 plates. They had watched half an episode of a crime show before he fell asleep beside her. Her throat tightened. Can you print that? 10 minutes later, Maya sat inside her parked SUV with the papers across her lap. She called Connor. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. On the 3rd try, she stopped before pressing his name. Her hands were beginning to shake. Then her phone buzzed. Connor. Not a call. A text. We should talk tonight. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be. Maya read it twice. Know what happened? No, there must be a mistake. He knew. Worse, he knew she knew. She drove home without music, walked upstairs, and opened Connor's closet. 2 suits were missing. So was his carry-on. His passport was gone from the drawer. Maya stood there with the divorce papers pressed against her chest, unable to cry yet. Something colder than grief was settling in. Connor had planned this. She had simply been the last person invited into the plan. Downstairs, his home office looked almost untouched. Maya was turning to leave when she noticed a single sheet sitting face down beneath the printer tray. Connor was obsessive about paperwork. He never left anything behind. She picked it up. A travel itinerary. New York to St. Bart's. 2 first-class tickets. Connor Hale. Maya's eyes moved to the second passenger. Sloan Mercer. She knew that name. Sloan had sat at Maya's Thanksgiving table 6 months earlier, complimented her sweet potato pie, hugged her goodbye, and told her how lucky Connor was. Maya lowered herself slowly into his desk chair. Then another memory surfaced. Sloan was married. Maya had met her husband once at a North Star Meridian holiday party. Caleb Mercer. Quiet. Observant. The kind of man who seemed to notice more than he said. Maya looked from the itinerary to the divorce papers, then down at the ring still on her finger. Connor thought tonight's conversation would be about how quietly Maya would let him leave. What he did not know was that somewhere else in Manhattan, another spouse was still living inside the same lie. Maya did not call Connor again. That surprised even her. 20 minutes after finding the Street Bart's itinerary, she photographed every page she had brought home from the bank, then called the one person she trusted not to tell her what she wanted to hear. Tasha Reynolds answered on the second ring. Tell me you are calling because you finally want lunch. Maya looked at Connor's name printed beside Sloan Mercer's. I think my husband filed for divorce without telling me. Silence. Then Tasha's voice changed. Do not sign anything. Do not move money. Do not send him an angry text. Can you do that? Maya almost laughed. I do not even know what I am supposed to be angry about first. Then be angry tomorrow. Tonight, protect yourself. By 4 that afternoon, Maya was sitting across from Tasha in her small law office near Bryant Park. Tasha had pulled the public filing and confirmed what Maya already feared. Connor had retained counsel weeks earlier. There were requests involving their townhouse, investment accounts, and financial disclosures. This had not started last Thursday. Last Thursday was simply when Connor stopped hiding it from the court. He planned this, Maya said quietly. Tasha closed the folder. Yes. That single word hurt more than reassurance would have. Maya reached into her purse and placed the itinerary on the desk. Tasha read the second passenger's name. Who is Sloan Mercer? Connor's communications director. Maya paused. And somebody else's wife. Tasha immediately shook her head. Whatever you are thinking, do not confront her. I am not thinking about confronting her. Maya took out her phone. I am thinking about telling her husband. Caleb Mercer's number was not difficult to find. Maya stared at it for nearly a minute before calling. A man answered with a cautious, professional voice. Caleb Mercer. My name is Maya Holloway. You met me at the North Star holiday party last December. A pause. Connor Hale's wife. The word wife almost made her flinch. Yes. I need to ask you something about Sloan. His tone cooled immediately. What is this about? Maya swallowed. Did she tell you she is going to St. Bart's this week? Nothing. Mr. Mercer? She told me Boston. Maya closed her eyes. Caleb continued, slower now. Corporate strategy retreat. 3 nights. Maya looked at Tasha, who said nothing. I have an itinerary with her name on it, Maya said. Next to Connor's. Caleb did not accuse her of lying. That somehow made it worse. Where are you? He asked. An hour later, they sat across from each other in a crowded coffee shop on West 42nd Street. 2 strangers sharing the kind of information neither had wanted. Caleb looked older than Maya remembered, not in years, but in the tired set of his face. He placed his phone between them. Sloan told me North Star booked her hotel. He opened a credit card statement. This charge showed up 3 days ago. I asked about it. She said it was reimbursable. Maya compared the hotel name with Connor's itinerary. Same property. Same dates. Caleb scrolled again and stopped. There is something else. 2 room reservations appeared under a North Star corporate travel account. Maya felt her stomach drop, but this time she did not feel confused. She felt certain. Connor had not made one reckless decision. He had built an exit while still coming home every night pretending there was nothing to leave. Caleb leaned back, staring past her toward the window. I thought the affair was the secret. Then he looked directly at Maya. I do not think it is. Caleb did not explain what he meant right away. He finished his coffee, checked the time, and said, I need to make sure before I tell you something I cannot take back. Maya understood. 6 hours earlier, she might have demanded answers. Now she was beginning to understand the value of waiting until facts could speak for themselves. They agreed to talk the next morning, and Maya went home to a house that suddenly felt like a museum of decisions she had once called love. Connor still had not returned. His coffee mug was beside the sink. His running shoes were under the bench by the door. On the refrigerator was a photograph from their first apartment, taken 8 years earlier when they had barely enough money for furniture. Maya was 26 then, working long days in risk analysis while Connor was still trying to get noticed in corporate finance. She had been good at her job, better than good. Her former boss once told her she could run a department before 35 if she stayed on track. Then North Star Meridian offered Connor a leadership position in New York. This could change everything for us, he had said. Maya remembered answering without hesitation. Then we go. She transferred, accepted a role with less visibility, and told herself marriage meant taking turns. When Connor enrolled in an executive program 2 years later, Maya covered more of the mortgage. When his father became ill, she rearranged her schedule so Connor could keep traveling. None of those choices had felt like surrender at the time. That was what made remembering them so complicated. Connor had not forced her to give up her life. She had believed they were building one together. Somewhere along the way, however, we had quietly become I. Connor started saying things like, I built this career, and everything I have worked for is finally paying off. Maya noticed. She simply chose not to keep score. Then Sloan Mercer entered their lives. She was polished, funny, and excellent at making powerful people feel interesting. Connor said she was helping shape his public profile at North Star. Maya had no reason to distrust her. Last Thanksgiving, Sloan and Caleb had even come to dinner. Sloan stood in Maya's kitchen with a glass of wine, while Connor carved the turkey in the next room. He talks about you all the time, Sloan had said. Maya smiled at the memory now, but there was no warmth in it. She had taken those words as proof that her marriage was solid. Maybe they had been a warning. Her phone rang just after 9 the next morning. Caleb, I found something, he said. Maya sat straighter at the kitchen table. What? Sloan left copies of some work files in our shared cloud account. I have access because she used it for our tax documents. He paused. There is a folder called Project Harbor. What is Harbor? I do not know yet, but Connor's name is all over it. Maya opened her laptop as Caleb forwarded only the documents he was legally entitled to access. The first page looked ordinary. Meeting dates, travel schedules, communications planning. Then Maya saw a timeline. Her divorce filing appeared on it. So did another date besides Sloan's initials. Beneath both was a line labeled Public Transition. Maya read it again. Connor had not simply decided to leave his marriage. Someone had built a schedule around it. Caleb's voice came through the phone, low and controlled. Maya, they planned when we were supposed to become their past. She stared at the screen. For years, she had believed her biggest mistake was failing to notice Connor pulling away. Now she understood something worse. He had counted on her loyalty while preparing a future that required her silence. And for the first time since the bank, Maya did not wonder why Connor had stopped choosing her. She wondered what would happen when he realized she had finally stopped protecting him. By Wednesday morning, Tasha had stopped calling Project Harbor suspicious and started calling it useful. Not because it proves everything, she told Maya, sliding a yellow legal pad across her desk, but because it gives us dates. Dates can be checked. They spent the next 2 hours doing exactly that. Connor's divorce attorney had opened his file nearly a month earlier. Changes to 2 joint investment accounts had been requested the following week. The Street Bart's reservations came after that. Project Harbor had not created the betrayal. It had organized what came next. Caleb, working separately with his own attorney, confirmed something equally troubling. Sloan had recently asked questions about refinancing their condo and separating several shared expenses. Neither spouse had been told the truth, but both had been quietly prepared for removal. By Thursday, Maya understood why Connor wanted everything handled quickly. North Star Meridian was approaching the final stage of a major acquisition, and Connor was part of the executive team overseeing it. Sloan controlled communications around the deal. Their affair alone might have been a private disaster. Using corporate travel resources while hiding a relationship between 2 executives involved in the same transaction could become a professional one. Do not turn this into a corporate investigation, Tasha warned. You are getting divorced. Protect yourself. Let North Star worry about North Star. Maya nodded. She was learning that revenge and self-protection could look dangerously similar until you decided which one you actually wanted. On Friday evening, Connor finally came home. Maya was sitting at the dining table when his key turned in the lock. He walked in wearing the navy suit she had bought him for his promotion dinner 3 years earlier. For one absurd second, that detail hurt more than seeing him. Connor stopped when he noticed her. You talked to a lawyer. It was not a question. So did you, Maya said. Apparently much earlier. He placed his briefcase down. Maya, I did not want this to become ugly. You filed for divorce without telling me. Because every conversation lately turns emotional. She almost smiled. There it was. Even now, he needed her reaction to be the problem. Connor sat across from her and pulled a thick envelope from his briefcase. This is a settlement proposal. The townhouse can be sold, you keep your retirement accounts, and there is a cash distribution that is more than fair. Maya did not touch it. How long have you been with Sloan? His jaw tightened. That is not what we need to discuss. How long? Maya, you brought her into my home. Connor looked toward the window. That was answer enough. The marriage has been over for a long time, he said. Maybe you did not want to admit it. Maya felt something inside her go unexpectedly quiet. No, Connor. I did not know it was over because you kept coming home. He pushed the envelope toward her. My attorney needs an answer within 48 hours. Maya looked at the papers, then slid them back across the table with one finger. Then your attorney can wait. Connor stared at her as if this version of Maya had arrived without permission. Do not make decisions because you are hurt. She stood. You already did enough deciding for both of us. His phone lit up on the table. Sloane's name appeared before Connor quickly turned it face down. Maya walked upstairs without asking another question. At 10:17 that night, after Connor had left again, her phone rang. Caleb sounded different this time. Not angry. Certain. Can we meet tomorrow morning? He asked. Tasha's office. Maya glanced at the unsigned settlement agreement Connor had left behind. Why? Caleb was silent for a beat. Because I found out what Sloane planned to do after our divorces. What did she plan? I will show you tomorrow. Another pause. And Maya, there is something I need to ask you afterward. She frowned. About what? Caleb exhaled slowly. You are probably going to think I have completely lost my mind. Saturday morning, Maya arrived at Tasha's office expecting another folder of evidence. She did not expect Caleb to ask her to marry him. But first, he showed her why the question had even entered his mind. Tasha sat beside Maya while Caleb placed several printed emails on the conference table. These came from the shared account Sloane used for household documents, he said. My attorney confirmed I had lawful access. I did not go into her private accounts. Maya picked up the first page. The language was polished, almost corporate. Public transition. Personal announcement window. Leadership messaging. Connor and Sloane had discussed waiting until both divorces were far enough along before acknowledging their relationship. One email suggested describing both marriages as having ended privately months earlier. Maya stopped reading. Months earlier? Caleb gave a humorless nod. Apparently we were separated. Nobody bothered to tell us. Tasha reached for another page. This matters because of the acquisition timeline. It does not prove criminal conduct, but Northstar may have disclosure and expense issues to review. Maya barely heard the last sentence. She was staring at a proposed statement attributed to Connor. It described his separation as mutual and respectful. Mutual. 2 nights ago, he had sat across from her wearing the suit she bought him and given her 48 hours to accept his version of fairness. Now she understood why. Connor did not only need a divorce. He needed Maya to cooperate with the story he planned to tell afterward. So what happens? She asked. Tasha folded her hands. We protect you. Caleb protects himself. If Northstar asks questions, everyone answers truthfully. Nobody leaks anything. Nobody plays games. Agreed, Caleb said. Maya looked at him. Then what did you need to ask me? For the first time since she met him at the coffee shop, Caleb looked genuinely uncomfortable. He stood, walked toward the window, then turned back. I have spent 6 days finding out that a large part of my marriage was not what I thought it was. Caleb, let me finish, because this is going to sound insane. He reached into his jacket. Tasha's eyebrows rose. Maya stared when he placed a small ring box on the table. He did not open it. Marry me. Maya actually laughed once, not because it was funny, but because her mind rejected the sentence. You have lost your mind. Possibly. We have known each other for 6 days. We have known of each other for years. But yes, really known each other? 6 days. Maya pushed back from the table. Then why would you ask me that? Caleb did not move closer. Because I was going to leave here today and spend the next year letting Sloane decide what this did to me. And I realized I do not want her making another decision in my life. Maya's expression hardened. So I am revenge. No, his answer came immediately. If you say yes because of Connor, say no. If you think this hurts Sloane, say no. I am not asking you to marry me next week. I am asking whether, when we are both legally free, you would be willing to see if what started in the worst week of our lives can become something that belongs to us. Maya looked at Tasha. Her friend said quietly, You do not owe anybody an answer today. Caleb nodded. She is right. And if you never answer, I will understand. That mattered. No pressure. No deadline. No settlement pushed across a table. Maya looked at the unopened box and thought about how many years she had measured good decisions by how comfortable they made Connor. She slipped her wedding ring from her finger and set it beside the divorce folder. I have one condition. Caleb waited. We do not rush a wedding. We do not use this against them. And if this becomes revenge, we stop. Agreed. Maya took a breath. Then yes. Caleb did not celebrate. He simply smiled, almost disbelieving, and Maya felt something she had not expected, not victory, but ownership of her own choice. Her phone buzzed against the table. Connor. Then again, and again. Maya frowned. She had told no one. Tasha looked at the screen. How does he know? A message appeared beneath Connor's name. Call me. Now. Then another. You are not marrying Caleb Mercer. Maya stared at those 6 words. Connor had secretly planned the end of their marriage, but somehow he still believed he had authority over what came after it. And for the first time, he sounded afraid. Connor called 11 times before Maya finally answered. She waited until she was outside Tasha's building, standing beneath the awning while a light Saturday rain darkened the sidewalk. What? She said. Tell me this is a joke. Connor sounded breathless, nothing like the controlled man who had pushed a settlement across the table 2 nights earlier. Which part? Caleb Mercer. You barely know him. Maya watched a cab splash through a puddle at the curb. That is interesting coming from you. Do not do that. Do what? Turn this into some revenge stunt because you are angry with me. Maya almost answered sharply, then stopped. Connor was doing it again, defining her motives for her. You secretly filed for divorce, booked a Caribbean trip with another man's wife, and prepared a public statement claiming our marriage ended months ago. You do not get to lecture me about impulsive decisions. The line went quiet. That silence told her something. You knew about the statement? Connor asked. Maya said nothing. His voice changed. What exactly did Caleb give you? There it was. Not heartbreak. Fear. Talk to your attorney, Connor. She ended the call. Caleb was waiting near the curb, but before Maya reached him, Connor called again. She ignored it. A minute later, Caleb's phone rang. He glanced at the screen. Connor, answer it if you want. Caleb did. Hello, Connor. Maya could hear Connor's raised voice without making out every word. Caleb listened until he finished. I'm not discussing Maya with you. Another burst of words. Caleb's expression barely changed. No, you should discuss your marriage with your attorney. I will discuss mine with mine. He hung up. Maya studied him. That is all you had to say? What did you expect? I do not know. Two betrayed husbands fighting over whose life is more ruined. Caleb gave a tired smile. I have meetings Monday. It was so ordinary that Maya laughed, genuinely this time. Then Caleb's smile disappeared when another notification appeared on his screen. An email. He read it once and handed the phone to Maya. It was from Sloan. You have no idea what you are doing. Connor will destroy her when he finds out what she has. Maya handed the phone back. She thinks Connor is afraid of documents. Maybe he is. Or maybe he is afraid of who sees them. Monday morning proved Maya right. At 8:12, while she was pouring coffee in her kitchen, an unfamiliar Manhattan number appeared on her phone. Maya Holloway, a woman asked. Yes. My name is Laura Chun. I am outside counsel retained by the board of North Star Meridian Capital. I understand this is a difficult time, and I apologize for contacting you at home. Maya set the coffee pot down. How did you get my number? Your attorney provided it after we contacted her office. Tasha. Of course. Why is the board looking for me? Laura paused carefully. North Star received information concerning possible undisclosed conflicts involving two members of the acquisition team, as well as questions regarding corporate travel expenses. We are conducting a review. Maya's pulse quickened. I did not report Connor. I understand. We are not asking you to speculate about your husband. We are asking whether you would voluntarily verify certain dates and documents that may already be relevant to our review. Maya looked toward the dining table. Connor's unsigned settlement agreement was still there. 48 hours had passed. His deadline had expired, and nothing had happened. I will speak with my attorney first. Absolutely. We would expect you to. Before hanging up, Laura added, Miss Holloway, there is one other thing you should know. Mr. Hale has already been informed that the board is reviewing this matter. Maya froze. Almost immediately, her phone displayed a new message from Connor. This one was different. No command. No accusation. Just 4 words. Maya, please call me. For the first time, Connor was not trying to control the conversation. He was trying to survive what came next. By Monday afternoon, Maya was sitting beside Tasha in a glass conference room 30 floors above Midtown, answering questions she never imagined anyone would ask about her marriage. Laura Chin sat across from them with 2 members of North Star Meridian's outside legal team. There was no shouting, no dramatic accusation, just dates, receipts, and documents laid neatly across a table. Somehow that made everything feel more serious. Did you authorize this reservation? Laura asked, pointing to the street Bart's itinerary. No. Did Mr. Hale ever tell you the trip involved Miss Mercer? No. When did you first learn he had retained divorce counsel? Maya glanced at Tasha before answering. When a bank employee told me I was already listed in an active divorce proceeding. One attorney stopped writing. Laura's expression remained professional, but her eyes changed slightly. He had not informed you himself? He kissed me goodbye that morning and asked what I wanted for dinner. Nobody spoke for a moment. Maya did not add anything. She did not need to. An hour later, Connor was brought into a separate meeting. Maya saw him through the glass as she and Tasha prepared to leave. His tie was slightly crooked. Connor never wore a crooked tie. Sloan arrived 10 minutes later with her own attorney, walking quickly past Maya without looking at her. Then the conference room door closed. Maya could not hear what happened inside, but she did not have to wait long to see the result. Sloan emerged first, pale and furious, followed by Connor. You told them the travel was approved, Sloan snapped at him, apparently forgetting who might hear. Connor lowered his voice. Not here. You said there was nothing to disclose. Sloan, do not slow me now. Laura stepped into the hallway. Both of you, please. The argument stopped immediately. Maya watched Sloan turn toward her. For the first time, the polished confidence was gone. You did this, she said. Tasha stepped forward, but Maya answered first. No, I stopped covering for what you did. Sloan opened her mouth. then looked at Connor as if expecting him to defend her. He did not. That was the moment Maya understood how fragile their grand future really was. It had been exciting when both of them could go home to spouses who absorbed the consequences. Now there was nowhere left to hide them. Laura asked Maya and Tasha to wait a few more minutes. When she returned, her words were careful. Northstar has placed Mr. Hale and Miss Mercer on administrative leave while the review continues. The acquisition will be reassigned to another executive team. Maya did not smile. Connor had spent years positioning himself for that deal. Losing it would hurt him more than any public argument she could have staged. Tasha gathered her files. We are done here. They reached the elevator before Connor called Maya's name. She turned. He was standing alone at the end of the hallway. Sloan was already gone. Can I have 5 minutes? Connor asked. Call my attorney. This is not about the divorce. Everything is about the divorce now. The elevator doors opened, but Connor crossed the hallway before Maya stepped inside. He stopped several feet away, careful not to touch her. I made mistakes. Maya looked at him. That is a very small word for a very organized moth. His face tightened. Sloan told the investigators the travel arrangements were my idea. She is protecting herself. Maya felt no satisfaction hearing it. Only recognition. Connor had chosen someone willing to betray a spouse and seemed shocked to discover that loyalty had limits. You should go, Maya said. Connor looked toward Tasha, then back at Maya. The anger was gone. So was the arrogance. Is it true, he asked. Is what true? Caleb. Maya said nothing. Connor swallowed. Please do not marry him. The elevator chimed behind her. Maya studied the man who had secretly planned a future without her and now looked terrified that she might have one without him. Why? She asked. Connor's answer came quietly. Because I think I just realized I do not want the divorce. Connor's words hung between them as the elevator doors started to close. Maya reached out and stopped them, then stepped back into the hallway. You filed for it. Connor rubbed a hand across his jaw. I know. You hired an attorney before I knew there was a problem. You separated money. You planned a vacation with Sloan. You even planned what you were going to tell people after I was gone. I know what I did. Then what changed? Connor looked toward the empty conference room. Everything got out of control. Maya stared at him. There it was. Not I hurt you. Not I betrayed you. Everything got out of control. No, she said. Everything stopped being under your control. Connor flinched. That is not fair. Neither was finding out from a stranger at a bank that my husband had already started leaving me. His shoulders dropped. For once, he had no polished answer ready. Sloan was a mistake. No. Forgetting an anniversary is a mistake. She was a choice. Lying was a choice. Coming home every night while your attorney prepared to remove me from your life was a choice. Connor looked down. I thought you would make the divorce impossible. So you made me irrelevant instead. I was scared. Maya almost pitted him. Almost. You were not scared enough to stop. Connor stepped closer but kept his distance. We had good years, Maya. You cannot tell me none of that matters. It matters. That is why this hurts. Her voice softened, but not her decision. I remember our first apartment. I remember eating takeout on the floor because we could not afford a dining table. I remember driving 6 hours to see your father when he got sick. I remember all of it. Connor's eyes lifted with sudden hope. Then do not throw it away because of Caleb. Maya shook her head. Caleb did not end our marriage. You did. Do you love him? The question surprised her. She could have lied just to hurt Connor. Instead, she told the truth. I do not know yet. Connor blinked. Then why would you agree to marry him? Because he gave me something you stopped giving me a long time ago. What? A choice. Connor had nothing to say to that. Maya reached into her purse and removed the townhouse key. She placed it on the narrow table beside the elevators. Tasha will handle everything from here. Maya, wait. Goodbye, Connor. This time she entered the elevator. The doors closed before he could answer. 3 months later, the divorce was nearly final when Maya received an unexpected call from Caleb. His voice was unusually serious. Can you meet me tonight? They met at the same coffee shop where they had first compared lies. Caleb was already seated when she arrived. The ring box sat on the table between them, still closed. Maya's stomach tightened. What happened? Caleb pushed the box toward her. I think you should give this back. Maya stared at him. You are ending this? No, he leaned forward. I am giving you an exit. She frowned. Caleb continued. 6 days was too fast. I knew it then, and I know it now. We were hurt, angry, and trying to understand what happened to us. I do not ever want you wondering whether you said yes, because Connor broke your heart. Maya looked at the box but did not touch it. And if I give it back? Then we keep having dinner. We keep learning each other. Or we become friends. Or we walk away. Whatever you choose. She studied his face, waiting for pressure that never came. That was the twist Maya had not expected. Connor had hidden a divorce because he feared what she might choose if given the truth. Caleb was willing to lose her rather than keep a promise she might have made in pain. Maya slowly pushed the ring box back across the table. Keep it. Caleb looked confused. Maya smiled. Ask me again when my divorce is final. And for the first time, the future did not feel like something happening to her. It felt like something she was finally allowed to choose. 7 months later, Maya stood inside a small courthouse in Manhattan, holding a document that felt nothing like the papers she had discovered at the bank. Her divorce was final. No hidden filing. No carefully managed announcement. No husband deciding what she was allowed to know. Just her signature beneath an agreement Tasha had reviewed twice, and a judge asking one simple question. Is this your decision, Miss Holloway? Maya looked straight ahead. Yes, Your Honor. Connor sat several feet away with his attorney. North Star Meridian's review had ended months earlier. He had not been accused of some dramatic financial crime, but the company had concluded that his undisclosed relationship, poor judgment, and use of corporate travel resources violated internal policy. He lost his role on the acquisition, then quietly resigned. Sloan left North Star soon afterward. Whatever future she and Connor had planned did not survive the consequences of becoming real. By winter, they were no longer together. Maya learned that from Tasha and felt almost nothing. That surprised her most. There had been a time when she imagined Connor regretting everything and thought his regret might somehow repair what he had broken. It did not. His regret belonged to him. Her healing belonged to her. Outside the courthouse, Connor caught up with her near the steps. Maya, she turned. He looked different without the confidence she once mistook for certainty. I heard you took the position at Westbridge Risk Partners. I did. Senior Director? Maya nodded. Starts Monday. Connor gave a small smile. You always should have had something like that. Once, those words would have meant everything. Now they arrived years too late. Take care of yourself, Connor. He looked as though he wanted to say more, but finally nodded. You too. Maya walked away without checking whether he watched her leave. For months later, Caleb took her back to the coffee shop on West 42nd Street. Same corner table. Same terrible coffee. This time there were no expense reports between them. No attorneys waiting for updates. Caleb reached into his coat and placed the familiar ring box on the table. Maya laughed softly. You kept it. You told me to. I tell you plenty of things you ignore. This one seemed expensive to ignore. Then his expression became serious. Maya, I am not asking because of what happened to us. I am asking because of everything that happened after. The boring dinners. The arguments about where to spend Thanksgiving. You correcting my driving. Me pretending not to notice. Your driving needs correction. See? This is exactly what I mean. She laughed again. Caleb opened the box. Do you still want this? Maya looked at him for a long moment. Then she answered, yes, I still do. They waited another 5 months before marrying. The ceremony was small, held in a garden outside the city with fewer than 40 people. No corporate executives. No reporters. No performance for Connor or Sloan. Before Maya walked outside, Tasha adjusted the back of her dress and asked, still yes? Maya looked through the window at Caleb waiting beneath the trees. Still yes. That was when she finally understood why the first yes had mattered. It had never been about replacing one husband with another. It had been the first decision she made after realizing that betrayal had taken something deeper than trust. It had taken her belief that she was allowed to choose what happened next. Connor had believed ending their marriage secretly would give him control over the ending. He was wrong. People can choose how they betray you. They can choose the lie, the timing, even the door they walk out of. But they do not get to choose who you become afterward. Sometimes justice is not watching the person who hurt you lose everything. Sometimes it is reaching the point where their loss is no longer the most important thing in your life. Maya did not need Connor ruined. She needed herself returned. And when she finally walked toward Caleb, she was not walking away from her ex-husband anymore. She was walking toward a life that was hers.